Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Easy parking with Easy Trip. Now available at Dundrum Town Centre. So you can now use your toll tags to park in our car parks. Simply register at easytrip.ie/parking. Easy parking with Easy Trip. Dundrum, where more happens.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Prue, and joining me, as always, are my fellow... There's got to be a name for candle enthusiasts. Yankees, Darren Moser and Philip Gilfus. Guys, how are you doing this week?
What is that, like American Candle Co.? Like the one, it's like the upscale candle shop where it's all the different special scents.
Yeah, you don't know Is Yankee Candle not a thing on the West Coast?
No,
I know what
it's in every mall that you don't go to.
That's what I thought so too. But, you can get the little baby ones for $12, or you can get the big jar ones for $42,000.
That's right. Or Bath and Body Works also has some good candle selection there.
Oh yeah.
So
how's your
we go for the that's a definite thing in the Gilfus Nun household during Christmas. My wife likes the triple wick. It's like a marshmallow something. So I always have to get 20 of them every time I walk into it because it only sells it during the season. So
now
although Daniel, I'm looking in my Star Trek technical manual, and it clearly states if you try to light a fire on the Galaxy class ship, it's going to be immobilized by this little tiny force field that puts out the flames. So I say plot hole.
Yes, that's definitely the biggest problem. Hey,
that's the biggest problem that I'm finding.
Maybe we should.
It's a little picture. This is the cover art right here. It's the little picture circling
for
the
listeners
flame.
that don't know. Right now, Darren is holding up the 1990 Star Trek: The Next Generation technical manual that shows the extinguishing positions on the Starship Enterprise.
Which is actually a nice...
I'm a method actor. I can't describe it without actually having the book in my hand.
It's a nifty feature and would have come in use that one episode.
You'd think it would
in
have.
the shuttle bay.
Yeah, because it was talking about terrible episodes. Up the Long Ladder.
Oh,
when they were trying to make a fire to burn.
That's right. It's canon. It's been proved, not just in the technical manual. Now, as far as plasma fires, as Geordi and Beverly learned, you're out of luck because that's they have an exempt notice.
Well, the thing about plasma fire, Darren, is that it can burn in the cold depths of space.
That's true, other than regular fire.
Although, wasn't this candle plasma?
It was.
Oh, it was.
Yes. What was the word?
They specifically talk
about
what
was the word?
It was technobabble based.
Technobabble based. Oh, okay.
But guys, we're getting way ahead of ourselves because I want to ask you.
Are we?
I want to ask you guys how your Star Trek week has been because I've actually watched some episodes this week, so I want to hear, Philip.
What do I get accused about?
Did you watch any more Voyager? Any more? Did you get any tallies down or what?
I have not. We've been pretty bad.
Do you want to know if you're winning? Is that what, is that what it comes down to?
And I'll tell you what. Not that I'm not going to be watching Star Trek, but I'm currently in my GRE studying. I mean, I'm taking that October 13th.
What show is that? I haven't heard of that one. What network is that on?
It's the prologue to the PhD episode. So yeah. So that's kind of where I am, and but I did do some, because I'm studying. I had today off for a doctor's appointment, so the rest of it was for studying, which meant I reorganized the Trek room, I vacuumed, I did the dishes, and so I was reshuffling some of my Star Trek stuff around. So it was kind of fun. I had taken my TNG bridge set with all my TNGers and moved it from the bookshelf to now the piano that's sort of facing me right now, so I can wave to them all on the Enterprise D. And it has, because it's sort of the bridge is surrounded, but it does have some flaps you can put down, so I can see inside them right now. So I did get my mother-in-law continually gets Star Trek stuff for me at thrift shops. So I she gave me, it's like the TOS Galileo shuttlecraft, but it has Trivia Pursuit cards for Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
And so
They had that at Star Trek Discovery when we went. They had it on the desk when the host would read those intermittently. I remember that.
Yeah, and so basically it's meant to be played without a board. Like, you can just play with the cards. And so my wife, took me, or I probably made her, took me through some paces. Now, it's all TOS. And some of them are...
Did you start on the first shap? I mean, only
TOS.
children start
TOS.
on the
It was
first
the Gamesters
shap.
of Triskelion. That would be your proper reference.
What, Lou?
Exactly. There we go. So that was cool. So yeah, so that's sort of been... And I have a... because I do organize, and so I do have some leftover Star Trek stuff, because I have a lot of Star Trek board games. Too many, probably. So, I don't know. I haven't actually gone through all of them to see if there's something I want to keep or not. So that's sort of been my Star Trek-ness for the week.
What about you, Darren?
Well, I got to watch a great episode that I was really looking forward to, and no, it's been I was not unfortunately, but no, this was another Warsian weekend. We had a local event here called R2LA where a lot of R2 builders come out, and we had about 100 and something people with about 40 to 50 droids. And it was really cool just seeing, everybody, they haven't reached quite the same level of hologram technology, so they have to make these clunky actual, robots, unlike the glories of Star Trek.
But shouldn't the robots be able to produce holograms if they build their
That's
droids
true.
correctly?
But you can't actually touch them. It's like,
Oh.
it's all about communication.
Have you seen an R2 builder build an R2 that can project a holographic or it's some sort of image?
I have. There was one that was a little BB-8, and you opened the port on the side, and it had a projector that could project on the wall, and it was plugged into a Super Nintendo, and you could play all self-contained within the droid.
Super Nintendo Chalmers?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, was this was it an actual moving BB-8, or was it just a kind of just built inside the casing of a BB-8?
No, this one wouldn't roll, but it could pitch its head around and turn and make the sound effects, but it was a static as far as it wasn't rolling.
Okay. Well, that's nice.
But we had about a dozen mouse droids, and they all had mouse droid wars out in the front driveway.
Droid wars. What, do they just roll into each other at low speed?
Yeah, they just roll into each other. There's some that are so souped up, people sit on them and they try to race, and it's quite fun.
Is there any curmudgeonly guy behind the bar that, as everybody comes in, he goes, "Your droids, they're totally welcome here"?
No, but I think I got a good idea now for next year. So.
All right, well, that's Star Wars. Guys, I watched, besides our prescribed Star Trek homework, I needed to cleanse the palate. So I watched another episode. And I watched The Most Toys.
Okay.
Which
Okay, that's
Was
another
it
one.
now? This is gonna. I'll flip the script. Was it as good as you remember?
Yes, that episode, it's one of my favorites. I love that episode so much. It's fantastic. And the whole thing is so, tension building. I really, really enjoyed myself. And my girlfriend was with me, and she was watching it. She was really getting into it, too. She just kind of watches on the periphery when I watch these things. So she's not totally invested, but she was interested. She's like, "Oh, what's Data going to do?" Yeah. She's like, "Screw that guy. He's a jerk." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's kind of a jerk."
Data's not a jerk.
She's
Dumper.
not podcasting about it, so.
But that's actually not what we're here to talk about.
But we can. If you want to.
We could if we wanted to switch gears.
We totally could. That sounds like a great idea. The Most Toys. So
Worf
my favorite
gets
thing
promoted
about
to
that
ops,
episode-
right? So that's a thing.
If you had a toy candle, maybe we could somehow.
I'm trying to make it relevant.
Daniel, you don't know how many jokes I'm going to have to avoid this episode.
Okay.
Because Toy Candle is pretty much what this whole thing's about. Cough.
Not very subtle either. Yeah.
Speaking of which, because I just got my 13th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. Several jokes have been made about that already. I won't touch those, but here we go.
So, yes, we're going to do another in our series. Is it really that bad, guys? And we're going to be talking about the Season 7, The Next Generation episode, Sub Rosa.
Sub Rosa!
What is Sub Rosa? Actually, I don't even know what that is. Is that?
I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm looking it up, but it's a term. But it's to me, I didn't get what it has to do with this episode. So now I'm looking it up, so y'all can talk, and I'll tell you. It's obviously
so.
a common term.
Actually, interesting notes here. First
Okay,
of all,
here, got it.
Oh, go ahead.
So it is a happening or done in secret. So the phrase example is the committee operates sub rosa. So in secretly,
just like
in private.
The movie The Happening, it's dull, boring, and a terrible, terrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The secret is this shouldn't have been. No, anyway.
So the story is credited to Jerry Taylor, interestingly enough, but the
Oh,
teleplay.
so it's a girl story.
No. But the teleplay is by the worst person ever. Who
boy.
I already ranted about.
Here we go.
Brandon
Here we go.
Braga.
Here
But
we go.
this episode was also directed by Jonathan Frakes. You know, to be fair, this is a kind of a who's who of Star Trek people. Like you would have,
And you're in season 7.
and you're in season like mid to late season 7. This should have been at least a passable episode. What do you guys think? Let's start with our base assumptions about Sub Rosa. There's lots of in jokes. There's lots of there's lots of things to say about this episode, like by reputation. But is this an episode that you guys tend to skip on your rewatches, or do you hate it, or do you just think it's stupid, or what was your impression going into the episode?
Well, going into it in my mind, okay, I know this is a bit cheating saying it my current when I watch it again, but for one thing, I couldn't remember where it was because I was like, well, surely this is like 5, 6 season.
No, I remembered it was.
I was like
7.
7. You're kidding me? That late? And it's like mid season 7. It's like there's only a few episodes left. And I was like, really? But anyway, but as far as sort of in my head going into it, I sort of thought of this as, and I'm sure in y'all's TV shows, other non-Star Trek ones you watch, you have examples. But it reminded me of an episode of The West Wing, The Long Goodbye, which is about, if you don't know The West Wing, it's about one character going home. She visits her dad who has Alzheimer's. It's all very sad. But it's like, it's not like The West Wing, though. I'm like, it's a good story in and of itself, but it doesn't belong, like, it doesn't feel like it belongs in The West Wing.
No, hang on. Let's clarify there, Philip.
Yeah.
The West Wing episode is a good story in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like...
Right. For a second, it sounded like you're saying Star Trek is not like The West Wing, and it's like, yes.
Sub Rosa
But
is
to me,
not a good story in and of itself.
Well, but I think Sub Rosa, in my mind, was like, it's like, doesn't belong in like, it's not a Star Trek story. It's sort of this sort of gothic romance in and of itself that's separate and apart. You could look at it, but it doesn't like, it doesn't make sense in Star Trek. And so that was me going into it. It's almost like the one that doesn't belong because it's just sort of this whole left field thing. And then something about a candle. But I did feel a little bit better because when I was, again, not to go into, but when I was like, man, there's not that many Beverly episodes. She kind of got hosed on this one. But then when I was kind of trying to find the episode in Netflix, I was like, oh, there's the Beverly episode, like the one where she's, solves the murder. Well, and there's a Beverly episode where Attached. I mean, that's a Picard Beverly. Right. But like, okay, she does get some good episodes. So it's not like Beverly doesn't get any good episodes.
She has half of Attached. So,
yeah. But, Remember Me. But anyway, so I was like, well, because I was feeling bad that Beverly doesn't get any good episodes. But I was like, well, okay, so she gets a few good ones. It's just, not this one.
Yeah. What about you, Darren? Going into this, what did you feel?
So, I mean, we've all eye rolled this episode just by title alone. I mean, it's what's the phrase? It's
sucks.
Yeah, well, that no, but like when you it's reputation precedes it.
Yes.
Infamous.
And yeah. But actually, upon getting into it, it made me think there are other pieces of other Next Gen episodes that if they had used those elements instead, I think this episode actually could have been a little like more salvageable. But unfortunately, the main core is what are we trying to learn from Beverly? Like, what is this supposed to tell us about her character? I mean, the murder mystery one, with the Ferengi, that shows us at least something about her personality and her work ethic and stuff like that, or ethics. That's a great Beverly episode.
No, ethics is another episode with Worf and.
Well, she's a big part of that one too.
That's true.
But she's a part of it, though.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was interesting because it made me think of Power Play, insofar as in Power Play was the whole, kind of mystical entity that possesses you and makes you do things done right and done well and done in like a scary way. So I was thinking, what if this instead was, not, you take out the whole Gothic romance, Scotland, loved your grandmother.
Oh,
and there was,
we'll get into that.
And instead,
is that
was
some
just
judgment
this
I hear,
entity.
Daniel? Because that's not what I remember about Daniel's philosophy
We'll
of
talk
romance
about
in
it.
the 24th century.
We will have a conversation about it.
So all I'm saying is, I think that could have been a more compelling story, is if it was something that, we know as the audience that it possesses Beverly and is changing, what her actions and what she's doing and her choosing to leave Starfleet and all of that. And then now we're on the side of the crew trying to figure out the mystery and figure out what's going on. But instead we don't get that. It's but I also felt there was a lot of stuff telegraphed in the first act that I don't think I cared to pick up on.
Yes. Is this the infamous moment from when my wife and I were watching it?
No,
okay.
not that moment.
All right.
No, more things like all the Howard women have green eyes except my mother and me, because all the Howard women, once they had connected with whatever his name is, their eyes turned green, and her mother didn't. Really? And I couldn't remember what happened to her mother, but I'm like, I bet you her mother died young, while her grandmother was still alive, and that was the case. And then later, her eyes turned green. So I saw that coming from that moment, but I'd never picked that up in my previous watches.
And also, they've never, and again, I mean, I'm not faulting them per se. They've never established where she came from. It's not like, Beverly, I'm from whatever.
Doesn't sound
name of the
Scottish.
planet, whatever. Because she was saying, I mean, I got the gist that she was raised by her grandmother, which we've never heard of, never heard reference to. And again, not that Next Generation is always great until season 6 or 7, or actually 4. Season 4 is when we get all the families, and season 7 is when we get the extended families. But yeah, it just would have been nice. It would have been a little drop of a hint. So like, we're seeing the planet where she, because I remember having a poster when I was growing up, and stay with me. And it had like all the TNG crew and like had little facts about them. And for Beverly, it said she was from Luna. And so, well, apparently not, so anyway.
Well, I was going to touch on just real quick while you were talking, Darren, I was thinking, and Philip mentioned this as well, that we get the family of basically everybody else. And the only family we ever got up until this point of Beverly was little Wesley, and then of course and Jack. But we never got her extended family, and maybe this was a way for the writers to be like,
because they crazy and possessed, Daniel. We don't want to bring them to the table.
Oh, trust me, what family isn't crazy and possessed?
That's fair. But I was just thinking, like you kind of seemed like to be alluding there into the idea that there are some ideas here that may be worth salvaging. That would be an interesting idea. We'll talk about the specifics. I really want to get to Planet Scotland, but
however, the Enterprise herself cannot be salvaged.
But I just wanted to explain my impressions going into this as well. Not
they sound like this.
Not a favorite of mine. Okay. Certainly nothing I was looking forward to rewatching, and I don't think I'm going to be.
Yet you chose it.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point.
Well, what was your why was it bad before rewatching it? Like, what was your like?
Well, you were talking earlier about this idea that it doesn't fit in Star Trek, but the thing is, neither do westerns, and neither do romantic comedy episodes, and neither do the thing. And actually, the writers. There's some quotes from them, from the creators of this episode, where they're like, "That's the great thing about Star Trek is that you can do anything you want, but the thing is, you have
on the holodeck, not on."
Well,
Planet
no. But I mean, come on, they get around the holodeck thing all the time. It's it's less. Star Trek is a big creative sandbox, but you can't just do things because you can do them. You need to have.
Where's our musical episode? Huh? Where's our musical?
I'm down for a musical episode. I really hope that they do.
Discovery,
that.
I'm sure will do it.
You're saying the writers were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should?
They slapped his name on it. Yeah.
They just said, okay, it's got to be a Beverly episode, and it's Beverly, and she's in Scotland, and it's Scotland.
Where was the
Candle.
Playmates candle for sale? You know?
No, this is it. It's they went into the office and right as they're about to give their pitch, they completely forgot everything they were going to say, and so they're just looking around the room and they see like
a
Beverly
Harlequin
casting card. They're like, it's a Beverly episode, and there's a poster. It's like in Scotland. Colony, Scotland, and there's like a birthday cake in the corner with a candle,
and
there's a candle in the episode.
They're reading a trashy romance and has Fabio on the cover, and they're like, this guy's in it. We can get Fabio.
Like pseudo Fabio. Yeah. Okay. And they're like, brilliant. That's what we want.
Look, it's Steven 7. We got nothing. Whatever. Let's do it.
They're like, well, we were gonna do a complete mirror episode, but that just sounds great. So let's just pitch that idea and go with Sub Rosa.
It's actually interesting. I was thinking about this too, comparing season 7 of TNG, which kind of didn't live up to the previous seasons. But like Deep Space Nine was so stuffed with stuff in season 7 that they barely had. They
had a lot to
they
finish
had so much to finish in
7.
And it's like if they had that same sort of, and this is where the episodic nature can be more detrimental than helpful, is when you have so much creative freedom and you have so much just the ability to do whatever the heck you want, that even somebody coming up to you and saying, let's do a trashy romance novel in Star Trek, is in whatever, it gets made, and it's terrible. And it's this is literally the final 10 episodes of this show, and it's like one of them's wasted on this. And then another one's wasted on masks, but that's for another episode. It's like,
was everyone? Were all the actors who were like, okay, we don't know what we're going to be able to do after this. I mean, there's probably going to be movies, but you never know. We want to get a reel together. So if we could just have an episode for each person for their reel. So this is Beverly's, Gates' reel, and then Brent has his reel now for masks. So,
Yeah. So
I don't think anyone won in that idea. That was a terrible idea.
Okay, so let's talk about the episode itself and the problems contained therein. They are numerous. I have some very specific ones that I want to talk about, but I'm going to throw it to you guys. What is the biggest problem with this episode?
Well, it's not the biggest problem, but I just want to go in reverse order just because this probably won't take as long.
Are you going from little problem to big problem?
Right. So like the B story doesn't exist. I mean, it's there, but it's stupid.
The weather net?
Yes.
So that's basically the B story.
I mean, basically, it's almost like if you're going to do a Beverly story, just do it. Don't have to Geordi and Data talking in the PowerPoint. Just have it on the planet the whole time. It's just Gates, and First Minister Shakar, and just that's it. Or, Picard can come in, whatever, that's fine. But I'm not saying like the whole time, but like this whole like, well, no, we got to have something for them to do. And then it's all connected. And like, okay, like it's clearly not trying, bulk up. Because, I mean, there's not even really a B story. That's because it's tangentially, I mean, it's connected to the A story instead of having an actual B story, which may have been interesting. I don't know.
I will say, though, in the defense of that entire thing, I was way more interested in planetary climate science than I was.
Daniel,
I mean, imagine if Worf had beamed down and learned something. Then he would have used that knowledge years later.
Don't you want to see him
on Risa?
Wouldn't you want to see Worf do all the Scottish games? He could have tossed,
I
tossed
totally want to
it.
see that now.
Why
why is the only part of Scotland we saw was the
cemetery,
the weather control
and
room,
haunted house,
and the haunted house, which all three were obviously a set.
Though I was making fun of my wife that it, of course, is a sanitary. Is how I kept hearing it. It's the sanitary.
Oh, sanitary.
I'm like, she's like, no.
No, I actually, anyway. I was way more interested in going back up to this ship and hearing about how the heck they dealt with weather systems and like and storms, and I'm like, this is cool future science tech. This is way more Star Trek than this
Now,
stupid
wouldn't it
candle
be
stuff.
cool if, like, a Data had been in front of the green screen explaining what the weather was going to be for the next day?
We have a cold front moving into
Oh my
to space
gosh.
Scotland here today, and
It's cold and wet. Done.
Yeah, the other guy saying, there shouldn't be a storm, and the Data standing in front of the giant map. You're right. Over here. As you
Now,
suggested,
Geordi,
there
back to
should-
you.
There should not be a storm. Yeah. Let's go to our satellite in the sky, the Enterprise.
He's in a shuttlecraft.
Storm.
Well, I'm reporting here, high in the sky here.
We're having some troubles with the inertial dampener, so you hear this in the background.
And then we go over to, like, I don't know who's left. Well, we didn't see Riker, but we'll just see. No, we'll do Worf. Worf's on the ground. You see him clutching onto the pole as the winds are going. And he's like, "Sir, I'm reporting here from the cemetery." The two people are normal walking by him, behind him. And then...
No, Worf's, of course, saying, "I'm not a storyteller." The storm, the storm.
so that part was the only cool part of the whole episode, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Riker's like,
I
in
mean-
local news.
Maybe it's just where they started it. Like, the fact that they started at this,
No, like, it
gathering at
literally
the
started
cemetery.
like that. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, did I miss something in Netflix? Like, it's just like...
Like, how cool would
boom.
it have been if she was, like, on the Enterprise and she gets a communique from the planet that her grandmother has passed, and we see her emotionally react to that startling news, and then the Enterprise has to divert, its mission to even that as, like, the cold open. That's engaging our characters more.
Well, and also that
That's
it
what you wanna
clearly... And again, this is maybe going too far in critiquing, but clearly a soundstage. Clearly a soundstage.
I expected Barkley to be swinging in the background, or no, Beverly to be swinging, and Sir Barkley is being fed grapes in the back. It looked like the same set.
I mean, like, really can't do a location in season 7? No? Okay.
Not like the
They
green.
can't- how would they create the
hills of-
storm?
Yeah, that's what it was. So the idea, first of all, of this planet is so stupid and so
Well-
ill-conceived that it really bothers me.
Well, it's also hard to commit to. If you're going to do it, you need to do it, and they didn't do it.
No, here's the thing.
No.
This is literally poor man's... Oh, God, what is the holodeck from Voyager? Fairhaven. It is.
Fairhaven.
It is
Poor
it's
man's
poor
Fairhaven.
man's... Like,
It's true. Fairhaven looks like an actual
Fairhaven's
place.
not even great.
This looked like a sound set.
Fairhaven's not great, but it makes sense as a concept. And recreating 1% of an entire planet ecosystem on the whole planet, or at least the colony, I guess, I don't know, like from 400 or 500 years in the past, makes zero sense to me. And it's so stupid. It's like, oh God, it bothers me so much how dumb that is.
Well, it would have been interesting if they had shown, again, they don't need to do the whole episode, but some sense of scale. Like, in other words, all we get is alien Scott, the alien Scott. We get the horror movie, don't go into that haunted house, Scotsman caretaker, from The Shining. And then we get, the ghost, who doesn't have a Scottish accent. And that's the only people we get on the planet talking. There's no, like, friendly innkeeper, there's no,
Why couldn't
priest,
we have had like a
you know.
photo album or something that she's
Hey.
looking through, and we see the unaged man in like all these photos?
Well, hang on. My mind is going in 12 different directions. First of all, Darren, based on the letters, which bothers me tremendously, but
that we didn't see. I don't believe such letters
based on the
exist, but
letters
okay.
Beverly's grandmother transcribed to her, any photos would have been quite inappropriate, I assume. So,
well, also, like, not only does each pad only hold one Word document, apparently there's not a camera on a pad where I could just be like, and then let me send that to you.
No, a camera has to look like the one that the doctor has.
Yeah, the hollow
It's
camera.
It's larger than like current Polaroids.
no, let's talk about the technology on this planet that has weather inhibitors and weather control
Yeah,
systems.
the weather net. Yeah,
But doesn't have indoor lighting except for open flames.
Makes it spooky,
Gothic.
Daniel. It's
Gothic.
This is so
Look,
stupid.
this is where all the cosplayers go to live because they want to pretend it's like old-timey Scotland, apparently.
If you
the
stay
thing.
the night, you will get the inheritance of your unknown uncle.
Which is nothing because there's no money in the 24th century.
Probably on this planet.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
This is exactly.
Also, the concept. I mean, the concept is interesting, but
Is it?
it falls apart. No, I mean, the haunted, but I think it just falls apart very easily. Really, so you've entire generations. Because also, okay, so here's the logic, right? I even forget his name, Ronan, whatever it is.
Yep,
Anyway,
Ronan.
the ghost, Ronan, is connected to all the Howard women, which, I mean, it's hard that name has actually survived the whole time, but we'll go with it. And he stays with them until they die, and then goes to the subsequent daughter, if a daughter exists. Again, not always a daughter in a family, but moving it, again, aside for a moment. So, he was with so we're doing this from Beverly's perspective, the great-grandmother,
Right.
who died recently, right? Because he just showed up with the grandmother,
I don't know. Was her
and then
No, they talk up. No, he's been. I got the feeling he's been with the grandmother, the one who dies in this episode,
for
a while.
by how
She
long
just
a
never
while?
mentioned her.
Like a few years, a few decades?
It sounds like a long time.
Because it was like, oh, I've been going through her diary, and then suddenly,
And okay, so here's the timeline that
Yeah.
we know of. We know that that Beverly hasn't been on this Scotland planet for 20 years, and
Right.
presumably
New Scottopia.
presumably her great grandmother was still alive because she was not aware of this person that was so important to her grandmother.
right?
So it's been no more than 20 years.
Or well, I guess what I'm saying is it could be longer because she also mentioned that that her grandmother didn't mention her at all.
No, but I'm saying if she
mention
had
him at
been
all.
on the planet, she would have seen him.
Well, because apparently he doesn't take corporeal form very
Well, he would have noticed.
I don't
Well,
know.
like, okay, well, here's the thing. If he doesn't, I know this is getting into it, but okay, so if the green eyes don't show up until he connects with you, then she should know that her grandmother never had green eyes until X time. You know what,
what
I'm
happened
saying?
to her mother? Do we ever know? What
She
happened?
did say she died, but not details.
We don't know.
So,
This is nothing that we know about ever.
no, I think because she said, I think I was very young. I think what she says in this episode.
Right? Yeah.
like-
She lived with her grandmother. That's fine. It's
but she
just-
should know her grandmother doesn't have green eyes, right? Growing up with her, unless because I just feel like it falls apart.
Well, that's assuming they only have green eyes because of this guy. Presumably,
so.
some of them probably.
Which that's what they established.
Because only her
she
mom and
says-
her don't because they've never connected with him.
But
Right.
yeah, okay. I guess.
The mom doesn't
I-
because the grandmother was still alive, and Beverly doesn't because she hasn't, lit the candle.
Somewhere
yet.
down the line, somebody had naturally green eyes, and that's okay too.
Well, the first one, yeah, but that's fine. But I just feel like it's hard to establish that all the women have had. I mean, we only have the grandmother and Beverly to compare, but so we have to assume that's what it was like for everyone. They've all had big O experiences. So anyway, but
I mean,
that
he makes it sound like it's been hundreds of years because when he talked about and when they went out into space,
800 years. In fact, 800 years
Yeah.
is specifically mentioned.
also
This is-
aren't these women? I mean, again, Daniel, this is where you come in. Some of these women surely had to be married with surviving husbands.
well, surviving kids because otherwise there's
Well,
no.
but I'm
that's the
saying
thing.
negating it. Like there's a man. I mean, I'm not to be heteronormative, but assuming some of them were married to men or had a relationship with men. And the guy doesn't always die first. Often does, but not always. So like, when was the connection made? When there's another guy in the house? Or,
But it
there
wasn't-
should have been like some comment of like, you know what? All the Howard men usually die earlier. So, it just falls apart.
Or are they connected
The more I think about
entire
it.
time, even though they're married, and he just doesn't become a parent until after the husband died. Yeah, I don't want to think about this anymore.
Well, no, this
It's
is
the
very
logic is
important,
falling
and I
apart.
want to.
No,
I
it's
want to
not.
talk
It's not,
specifically about the
Daniel.
relationships after. But the problem is in terms of what Philip is framing here, is that traditionally the name is passed down through the father. It doesn't make any sort of sense, and even in Star Trek, we don't see that change significantly.
Yeah, Crusher. Wesley Crusher.
Beverly's a Crusher. She's not a Howard. I mean, she's identifying.
Keiko O'Brien.
Yeah, she's identifying as a Howard in this episode, but she's actually a Crusher. She's not a Howard anymore.
She's crushing it.
And she is. And so I don't know. for a lineage that long to stretch without, I mean, while having daughters without getting married is strange. I don't understand how it could even happen.
So, and let's assume for the moment that Beverly, Ronan are successful. So what happens next? Because Wesley's a guy.
He's boned. He's done. Well, I don't know. Maybe, actually, I don't know. I guess we don't know. Maybe Ronan is an equal opportunity ghost.
Well, says the Howard women. Now, I mean, I'd be fine with that. I would be fine with that, you know. But it seems to be very explicit that he goes through the women.
Yeah. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Now, let's actually talk.
He's like, that's future Ronan's problem.
So I actually do want to talk about this because Philip mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm more of a defender of the future view of sex and relationships where the more open the better usually.
So can you have the same lover that your grandparent
This
did?
is not just... This is incestuous, is what's going on. This is, in a lot of ways, I think. And maybe that's my personal bias. Maybe I'm not...
Well, I don't... You know, well, like, I think the characters find it... I think this episode treats it as... Yeah, it's weird, but... Yeah. Because even Picard's like...
Well, that's different.
90 or 30.
Because so Picard finds it peculiar,
and Troy is like, "Oh, okay."
Troy's like, read 2 chapters.
No, I actually like their reaction because they're not aware of the entire situation. So especially Picard's reaction is great because his reaction of surprise of the fact that that Beverly's grandmother was involved in relations with a 34-year-old guy isn't...
When she was 90 or 100.
When she was over 100. She was a centennial. Yeah. And he goes, 30s. He's almost...
Like, he's just got to wrap... It's not like it's a bad thing. He's just got to wrap his mind around it for a moment.
So it's not unheard of, but it's
like, I have archaeological digs that are younger than that.
So that isn't the problem. That's more of a curiosity or more...
Right.
But there's no condemnation for it.
Yeah, the age is just... Okay.
That's... Yeah.
But it's the relational...
I have slept with... Well, not slept, but I've been intimate with... Your
they
entire
don't
family
know that.
line.
They would... anyone who's not Ronan or Beverly would see that as...
Picard didn't know that. Troy didn't know that. But if you're trying to sell this as a love story, it makes it instantly creepy. Because anybody else...
The whole thing's creepy. There's nothing that's not creepy. I don't think there's anyone who's like, oh yeah, that Ronan guy. Yeah, that's what I'm about. They're like, no, this whole thing...
If only they had found a way to make that work. No.
Nothing's going on that's... You know.
But then you get mixed messages, because the last line of this episode is, well, he did make my grandmother happy.
Yeah, there's a lot... And then we don't need to go there, but I mean, because I'm trying to look at this, we're obviously all men here, but, there's some troubling issues if you really want to get into this about what's Ronan doing to these women.
Oh no, it's terrible. Yeah, for
sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to start using some words here, but they could think, but there's some consent problems, perhaps.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So let's just say this is at best like a movie of the week, Lifetime abusive spouse episode.
Well, the guy did it then.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just say that's what this is. That's not even good at that. Mm-hmm. It's too weird. It's too creepy. It's too off the wall for Star Trek. It just doesn't fit. And it's boring on top of all of that.
Yeah.
The pacing's really weird. It's like it felt short. It felt like a really short episode. Like, I know timeline-wise it wasn't, but it felt like half the length.
There's nothing there, yeah.
There's nothing there, and then all of a sudden we get to the end, and it's like Picard gives his big speech about like what ship was it on, and what's his name, and what does he do here, and what's his social.
Did you order the code red, Ronan?
And all very valid questions, and then, but Picard's super chill about it. He's like, I know this guy has got nothing to stand on, so I'm just gonna ask him these basic questions.
But like, Ronan is so inept. How did he get away 800 years? Because he clearly doesn't know how to cover any tracks. Nothing.
Well,
that's where I feel like he's in this vulnerable time in between women.
Aren't we all?
He's not bonded with them. So that's why my thought is that he just bonds with them and then is just kind of just like living off of their, I don't know if they're like their life force or whatever, but basically I think once
making
he
a connection,
with them, I don't think he actually appears anymore.
So here's the thing, like he's not.
It's like a parasite.
He's not preying on an insecurity of Beverly's. He's not like she's a fully developed human being with a tremendous job and a great career. Like, it's weird. The episode wants us to have it both ways, where she's being influenced, but also she's doing this of her own accord. But that can't be the case, because
he never says like, have you always worried about dying alone or something? Like, there's no relational part at all. It's just, I
she's just
him.
like, he made me tingle weird, and now I don't now I've lost all cognition and thought.
Yeah.
Until he beats up Picard, and then all of a sudden it's all back. And that's why it's like so poorly defined and developed. It's meaningless.
I mean, it would have been, and I'm trying to figure out how to write this on the fly, which I'm not sure. I'd have to think about this a little more. If we didn't know what was happening, like make it more subtle. Her changes, that eventually lead to her leaving the Enterprise, but not just like, I'm leaving. Here's my resignation. Bye. I'm falling in love. We're gonna be very happy. I'm like, well, okay, clearly. I mean, alien influence. How are we gonna kill him? Let's do this thing.
Yeah, it's totally meaningless. That scene. I kind of like Picard's response to all of this. It's a little bit of highlight for me.
What the hell is this, Beverly?
Yeah, for me in the whole episode. I actually like the scene where he comes down, he confronts Ronan. It feels like very reminiscent of how he confronts Ardra in a lot of ways. He doesn't buy that this guy, has any substance behind him. He sees right through him like a ghost. But he has 2 scenes in the whole episode, and that's it. So that's not enough to save it. And it's just, we don't care about this stupid storyline. It's so dumb. But
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a good romantic story, or just a 1-episode one. And that's been done. But yeah, I don't know, because it's also with Beverly, as we said. I mean, her sex acting's great. Don't get me wrong. But it's sort of like she is, as we know, a capable woman. I mean, and this is not necessarily gender. I mean, by age. I mean, older. I mean, whether it's Picard or Beverly. I know Picard's older than Beverly. But anyway. But in other words, she's not going to be in this kind of teenage romance. And I mean, I'm not saying, look, it just doesn't happen when you get older. But anyway, it's a little bit different. But anyways, and it's sort of, I don't buy it. It's all very, like, this isn't Twilight. Okay, this is a Twilight episode. And I know that sounds like insulting and whatever. You can take it as either not or insulting or just saying Twilight. But it's for teenagers. Or, and so if this had been a Wesley episode, okay. I could see something about that.
Wasn't that like the dolphin?
this is,
Yeah. Well, except she was good.
I mean, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could see that. You could understand his motivations in that episode. Young love, you're naive, you don't understand. Here, Beverly loses everything.
It's clearly out of character. Like, it's not, whether it's Beverly or Picard or Worf or whoever, people over the age of 40, you're like, okay, this is out of character for you. You're not just going to be like, screw everything.
There's a whole scene dedicated to that. But when Picard is talking to Troy, which is actually a great scene for those two, and they're talking.
Now, write this down, guys. This is actually Troya's counselor episode.
It's great, and they're talking about it, and she goes, "Hey, I don't know what to tell you." Although you would think that there would be stipulations for this in Starfleet because of how influential other species could be, but she's like, "No. As soon as a human being makes up their mind, you just have to respect it." That's good. That's good. Like, that's good stuff right there, and that makes a lot of sense. Anything else? I want to highlight some good stuff. So I'm gonna bring up a couple things real quick, and you guys can think of some positives if you have any. Dr. Solar is mentioned in this episode, so very excited to hear that reference. Very very excited, and that's all I have on my list.
That was about all I had too. Yeah. So I was like, well, I guess she's the new CMO now, right? So Dr. Solar is in charge.
Yeah, okay. That was cool. I mean, that's a season 2 callback.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. What do you got?
Season 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, you look at this whole thing, and
No, I'm
it's like
just
what?
positives, Darren. We'll go into overall here in a minute.
I don't have any.
All right.
Well, my wife did we always watch this with my wife, and I was like, well, what'd you think? She's like, yeah, it wasn't bad. So she gave it a not bad. So
Did she? Was she paying attention the whole time? Or?
I guess I already said my positives. Like, if it had a little bit more.
The uniforms were great. The shots of the Enterprise were nice.
The energy beam transfer was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it was more power play and less Sub Rosa, then I think that
That's just positive. Yeah, like I said, there's a story there, but it just needs fixing. Needs a lot of work. All right, I'm not telling Punch It to rewrite Sub Rosa, because you guys are busy. You don't have to do everything we do.
Don't do that.
But if you wanted to, and then they're listening.
That actually brings me up to a really good point that I wanted to talk about. Something we haven't done in the past of this series, but maybe something we could look into in the future. We were very adamant. I mean, like, the first couple of episodes, we were kind of like, oh, there's a nugget of something there. Then we really hit a wall when we hit These Are the Voyages. And it seems like we are also kind of one mind here as well. Is this episode as bad as These Are the Voyages?
No, because I think for me, no. Because These Are the Voyages is more visceral, because it's like, it's the last episode of the series, and you kill Trip for no, and so it's more like, I'm not yelling at the TV in Sub Rosa, I'm just going like, okay. That's what I'm doing for Sub Rosa. I'm yelling at the TV during These Are the Voyages. So for Sub Rosa, I mean, actually, it wasn't as bad as I remembered. I'm going to phrase it that way. I was like, okay. I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. I mean, it's just a not great episode of TNG, which happens, more than once, of course. But that's why I was a little disappointed. Season 7. I'm like, if this was like a season 5, you'd be like, okay, okay. But like Season 7, come on, guys. We need to be. I know they're not. Season 7 is not the best season by any means, of course. There's no Season 3, but come on, guys, a little bit more. If you're gonna give Beverly a nice love episode, let's make it a little more than this. It's just basically we're just in Janeway's holodeck program as the governess. That's basically what this is. Lots of bolts of lightning and things like that.
Very, very frightening.
Yep, guys with long hair.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like it didn't actually feel as terribly, but like there's been worse that we've watched.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't as bad as I quite remember, because I guess I could kind of see a little bit of potential in certain ways, that would have made it better, but it just never.
It would have been interesting if they really committed to a horror episode. I mean, I know it's supposed to be romantic horror, but anyway, because, I mean, again, it's the whole stereotypical that caretaker is like, I'm telling you, it's haunted. And then he ends up dead, which he does in this episode, So it's sort of following the tropes. But I'm like, just commit. Let's just do a full-on The Shining or whatever, you want to use as your example episode.
Yeah.
But sort of
I feel like this was their version of committing, and that's the problem.
Well, because, it's inconsistent, and of course I know why, but, okay, so he zaps the caretaker. I don't even remember his name. And then
governor. Scotty McScott.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
McDuck. And then he, but then he zaps Geordi and Data, but they're just stunned. I'm like, okay, now look, we gotta be consistent here. I mean, I get that I don't want to kill the main characters.
But hang on. Then he takes possession of Beverly's grandmother's body.
That's freaky as heck.
And speaks like she needs counseling.
Not now, Beverly. It's like, okay, Dad, it's creeping me out.
And oh my goodness, real quickly, just something we didn't talk about throughout the episode, but in the beginning when they're talking about her grandmother being this great healer, not a doctor,
Damn it.
a healer. Yeah. And she uses all these herbs and it's like, medicine. You are space travelers, people. What is wrong with you? Oh, it bothers me so much. But I guess if you live in a house with only candles in the 24th century, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think this episode is worse than not that bad. I don't know.
No, Daniel, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room. The reason you don't like this episode is because Ronan is a Bajoran love interest for Major Kira. Let's just talk about this, let it out, reveal it. That's the only reason you're like, why does this actor keep getting work? That's your problem.
I think this episode is worse than not that bad. I don't think it is. I think it's severely problematic. I think there are some real issues here that you need to deal with. And yeah, if you compare it to something like These Are the Voyages, it's not as offensive because it's not the last episode. But even just being in the middle of season 7, it also feels like we have filler all throughout TNG. That's not new. But you can have good filler. There's that one episode of season 2, I think, when they go to the gambling planet.
I was just thinking the Royale. I was just going to compare it to the Royale, but I was going to think like, oh, well, there's some funny lines, so whatever.
That's good filler. The Wild West episode on the holodeck, that is good filler. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have every episode be best of both worlds. That's
the Ancient
fine.
West.
It's just, this is so far below that. It's upsetting, like you said, Philip, that we're seeing this, late into season 7 at this point. So,
yeah.
I'm done.
Would it have been cool if it was the moon? If we had seen the moon in TNG?
Yes.
That would have been Armstrong City.
New Armstrong City. That would have been very cool.
New Berlin.
I'm still waiting for that. I would love for that in Discovery. That would be cool. But God, that would be better than Scotland Planet. That would be better than half the planets. That would be better than Gangster Planet. Sorry, I'm just saying. It just would be.
Well, better than Nazi Planet, that's for sure.
It would be better than Nazi Planet or Nazi Planet 2 on the holodeck. Anyways.
Nazi Planet.
Anything else you guys have to say? I've said my piece. I'm good for this week. Anything else real quick?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Well, why do we think... So, I mean, here's a question. Why do we think it's so infamous? Like, it's not like the number one infamous, but it's in the top 10, like, infamous Star Trek episodes. Is it just cahn-dehl and that's it? It's because Scottish guy yelling cahn-dehl the whole time.
I think it's because it's not even a good, trashy romance story.
Right.
Like, if it was a decent, trashy romance story with Star Trek trappings... It would be okay-ish. It would be forgettable.
What if Ronan didn't know he was a thing?
A ghost?
Yeah, he was a guy. Like, he presents as a guy. He thinks he's a guy who just romances these women. And so you're like, oh...
It's just what I do, guys.
And so, like, it's presented as what Troy says. Like, we actually see him. I really care for your grandmother. And she's like, well, that's unusual. But they meet, and then they're in the front of the fire at some night after they've been caught in the rain. And and they get together. And you're like, well, it's weird, but okay. But then we find out in, like, Act 3, there's something different about and then it's tragic because they find out that, he's messing up the weather. And then he has to maybe sacrifice himself or something. Or, whatever. And then, okay, that's a thing. And not just trashy ghost that doesn't make sense.
If he didn't know that it was the same family, like maybe he just forgot when they died or something, and like he was just drawn to this.
He regenerates.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just drawn to this line of people. Okay, something like that.
Nice Scottish accent establishes the thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are you making him a Time Lord? Because that sounds like you're making him a Time
Lord.
Lord.
If David Tennant was in this episode in 1994.
Jeez, how old would he be?
Pretty young. Pretty young.
To be fair, this guy's only 34. Now.
Well, they say he's 34. He doesn't really look 34.
830. Yeah.
All right, well, that was interesting, and in fact, it won't be the last.
Oh, boy.
Oh, we're not done yet?
No.
We haven't even done a movie.
I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to be a little spoilery here, but maybe the next one that we do would be a little bit more... strap yourselves into your theater seat with your seat belts, if you know what I'm saying. I'm teasing. I actually haven't decided what it's going to be.
Okay.
Are you saying generation?
No, it's going to be 5. It's going to be 5. We all know it's going to be 5.
But I was like,
we'll see. But
is it B, option B for better be a good movie?
We'll see. There's plenty of bad Star Trek to go through still. But here's the thing. We love Star Trek here, even the bad stuff. So, Philip, if people wanted to get a hold of you and talk to you about why even the worst episode of Star Trek is better than the best episode of Babylon 5, how would they get a hold of you?
Oh, well, that's not true. They can find me on the Twitter at NCPublicServant, or they can listen to me and my wife, who I've previously mentioned, on Time and Space, as we get ready to talk about new episodes of Doctor Who with the first female Doctor. It's About Time, starting in October.
It's About Time. That was a great campaign. I watched
Isn't
that.
it? Yeah.
That was fun. I got really excited about it. I want to go back and catch up. But.
Yeah.
They need to use that old "Time Has Come Today" song in one of their promos. That would be.
And Darren, if people want to talk to you about what kind of candles stormtroopers use, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, stormtroopers don't use candles. Don't have to at me about that.
You're supposed to say, it doesn't hold a candle to Star Wars.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No, please, God, no. They can find me on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram under username Dr. Sci-Fi, DRSCIFI, or my website, drsci-fi.com.
And people can get a hold of me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word, as in... Oh, God, this is one of the worst. But that is it for us this week. Philip, what are we talking about next week?
I don't know.
All right. Okay. So let's move on. And all right. But it's been fun talking about some. Well, it's been kind of fun talking about some Star Trek season 7. Star Trek TNG season 7 this week. But we will catch you guys all next week. I am Daniel Prue.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
And I'm Darren Moser.
I think Stranded here on SETI Alpha 3.